Hello everyone, it's Pinterest Pro Anna here today, and I have a special treat for you. We have Margaret Martin, who is the author of The Chatter That Matters. That's pretty good, isn't it? The Chatter That Matters. And Margaret, I want you to tell us a little bit about your book and then some of the other projects you have going on, and then we'll talk a little bit about Pinterest.
Okay, thanks, Anna. It's a real treat to be here with you, and I do watch your videos often and learn a lot. But to tell you a little bit, yep, you can see my books in the background, but The Chatter That Matters, Your Words Are Your Power, is a book I published actually 5 years ago, so right on the 5th anniversary, which it's hard to believe it's been that long. Well, what I cover in there is really looking at your negative self-talk. That's why it's the chatter that matters.
I hear a lot of that.
And so it's about how to observe and be aware of what your recurring negative self-talk is. And there are processes in there on how to identify that and how to transform it into words that are believable that you can say as an affirmation. And then I also cover conversations with others, so other chatter. And then protective chatter is about setting boundaries. And then there are several other things within the book as well. My newest book, which is maybe a little hard to see because of the glare.
I can see it, yeah.
It's a journal of gratitude. Your Chatter Matters, a journal of gratitude. And I've been writing my gratitudes for each evening for about 20 years or more. And so I decided instead of buying other people's journals, I would publish my own. So we did that in December, and really excited. It's 200 pages of lines. Oops, I know you can't see it. Lots of lines and quotes, and so it gives you plenty of space that you can actually probably have it for a couple of years. What was I thinking? I should have put fewer pages in.
That's right.
Another project I'm working on, thank you for asking that, is I've just completed my certification to work with people who have PTSD. And so one of the areas in which I'm working is people who've experienced domestic violence, or as the UN has removed the word domestic, and so it's now violence against violence in the home and violence in the community. And even the state of Florida has changed it to interpersonal violence. So with that company and that organization, we're starting a radio program in August. And if people will follow me on my Facebook page at margaretmartin.speakercoach, they will definitely be able to see when we're ready to go live with that. But I'm doing interviews. I'm doing a radio channel on domestic violence, the wicked lie. So
that sounds very interesting. And by the way, Margaret, at the end of this, I'll put your Facebook URL on here, and then also the URL in case some people are interested in ordering either your book or your gratitude journal.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Don't make sure you get that information to me, because I really would like to put that on here. So as you can see, Margaret's a pretty busy person. She has some other projects that she could tell you about also, because she's always into a lot, and especially helping people. And I asked Margaret if she would come on today, because I feel like everybody thinks, oh, she does Pinterest, so she's always just wanting people to use Pinterest, and she's not going to like me if I don't. So, and so I told Margaret, I said, you've been coming to my trainings, all this sort of stuff, and I'd like for you to just talk about what are some of the obstacles you have faced, as far as actually using Pinterest is concerned.
Yeah, and Anna knows the real truth is I don't use it as much as I need to market my business. But the challenge is that for me, the time it takes. It's easier for me to create a Facebook post and a LinkedIn post than to go in and really think about what I want to put on there. And that's where probably some time with Anna would be helpful to sort of brainstorm and say, let's put this and that on there. And I remember originally when one of the boards I created was the name of my book, The Chatter That Matters. And I remember you asking me, so how many people are going to be searching for that? And I said, I hope millions, but the reality is, so I think I've forgotten what I've even named the board, positive quotes or positive thoughts or something like that. And so my challenge is what is the content to put on there? And how, as we were talking some yesterday and again today, is the fact that I probably should go start a gratitude board and be able to share some of the gratitudes. And interestingly enough, one of my speaker friends challenged me. He calls me Ms. Gratitude. Said, I'll log on, I check you on Facebook most evenings to see what you've written for, because I often even write it on Facebook what I'm grateful for, and challenge other people to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so creating a gratitude board, and so that might be easier because it's sometimes taking those quotes of things that we say. Mm-hmm. And yes, I use PicMonkey a lot to be able to create, I guess we call those memes now. I'm not sure, trying to stay up with the current wording of things, but the picture that has the quote on it or things like that. It's like last week I was up at St. Mark's Lighthouse in the Panhandle or in the Big Bend. And so took some different pictures there that I know that I can use to put quotes on or sayings on or different things like that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the ways that I know I can do better. But the challenge is going in and what is the verbiage you put in there on the picture? And then, making sure that you have your URL in there for your website and different things like that. So that's where I look at what's the challenge for me is the time it takes to do it, which frankly, yeah, if I'm watching a movie on TV, I could probably sit there and create those, right, Anna?
Yeah, you could, but we don't always think about those things. And plus, as you emphasize quite often, we also need to have some downtime too for revigorating ourselves, getting our energies back up and all. So that's another thing there. Anything else you would like to share, Margaret?
As far as, using Pinterest, I'm probably not one of the ones that, honestly, I'm not on there a whole lot. So I need to change my habits. And because I know I could learn a lot, I could find a lot on there. And I guess, one of the things is I know my daughter uses it a lot, and a lot of other people do, for finding ideas for things. Mm-hmm. Maybe I lead such a boring life.
No, you don't.
or maybe what I'm some of the things I'm looking for that that may be, what is it I can use? Sometimes I don't even know what to search for, and because I'm not looking for any particular recipes. I may look for ideas I have one of the boards is a beachy kind of things, and I think I like some of the things that are coastal living kind of pictures and things like that to put in there. So I'll go on and search for things like that, but give me some ideas of what I need to be doing.
And you know what? That's a very good.
Kindly.
Yeah, that's very good, Margaret, because you're absolutely right. A lot of times, the first thing people ask me is, what would I make boards of? And for example, with you, I can think of all kinds of things that you could do, like books, because you want to stay within your niche market. So like you say, having a gratitude board would be excellent. You could have a board for books I like to read, books that inspire me. You would probably want to name it inspirational books, because inspirational would be a key word for you. Mm-hmm. And so that's something. And then maybe even have a board on how to use your journal. And then, like what you were saying earlier about the taking the pictures when you were gone, you could use that, have a board of inspirational places, see, and that help me. And then in the description, you could talk about how these inspirational places help you to meditate, because I've seen you post things on Facebook of a scene that you're like, oh, this is so peaceful, and it really helps me to, and so forth. So those are the kinds of things that you have to think about.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, think like the person that you're appealing to, and what are some things that they would want to know. And think about what kind of questions do people ask you. Do they ask you, well, when do I journal? How long does it have to be? Some things like that. And you could really get creative with your boards. So
Yeah.
that is a very good question.
And that's the thing I never think about, Anna, is, that because I've been doing it for so long that I assume everybody else knows how to do this stuff. And sometimes
right. And they don't.
They don't. And I do know that some people spend that time, they do spend early morning time, and they'll start their day that way, is writing down the things for which they're grateful. I choose to do mine in the evening,
right,
reflecting on that particular day, and then maybe once or 2 or 3 times through the year, I might sit down and write everything I'm grateful for.
And see, those would be really great things for you to put on a board, because most of the things that talk about writing your gratitudes and that sort of thing, they emphasize doing it in the morning. And like you said, you don't necessarily have to do it first thing in the morning. You can do it at night. And I know whenever I started talking to people about, meditating and all that sort of stuff, I thought, oh, I don't have time to sit for 30 minutes and meditate. But then I stopped and thought about it, because I get up and I walk my dog every morning. And while I'm walking my dog, I'm really appreciating everything around me. And what if I played some meditation music during that time? So, coming up with ideas like that for people, I think would help them to actually do some of these things, which would, of course, help to enrich their life.
Yeah.
So think about those things.
So, and I think it's correct. We can post some videos on within
Oh,
our.
yeah.
So there's my Mindful Monday videos.
Exactly. That would be perfect. And what you have to do is post them. And that's another good, helpful hint for people with Pinterest, because some people don't realize that what you do is you post them on YouTube, and then you share them from YouTube, directly from YouTube. And
right.
And those, as you well know, video is king right now. So that would be awesome. So.
Yeah. So while I was at St. Mark's, there was a place where, you could hear the water running. And so I just videoed just a little bit about what was there. I mean, yeah, it's marshy area, but I happen to love the marshes. So Florida. And so, it's just like about a minute and a half or so video. And so it's just a time for people to go take a deep breath and pause.
Exactly. That is a fantastic idea. And
one of the things that I've learned in doing my my Mindful Monday videos, or any of the other videos I've done, is to be able to, I downloaded, I'm a PC user. So I downloaded Microsoft's what is the name of the program? It's a movie maker. And so you can upload your videos in there, add in your opening, and put, titles along the way, and then a closing. So I usually do that, and then save it to my computer so I can save it in the correct file format, and then upload it to YouTube. I know you can do some of this directly on YouTube, but I haven't tried that yet. So
yeah, you can. And on YouTube, they even have music files that you can add as background music. So those are a lot of great tips for people. And like I said, don't forget, I want to get your URLs to include with this Facebook Live post here. But I appreciate everything. And another helpful hint, Margaret, is that if you do, for people, those out there that, like Margaret say, thinking of what to name the boards and all that sort of stuff. And one of the things that I do is I offer a service of where I'll set up someone's account for them and create 10 boards and write the descriptions with the keywords. And that way they have something already there. And keep in mind that on Pinterest, you don't have to have 50 boards. A lot of people think that, but you don't. I tell people all the time, whatever works for you in
Yeah.
your business. So keep that in mind. Well, Margaret, thank you so
Oh,
much.
one,
Oh,
one thing before we sign off here is, so if I just needed one board done or two boards done, is that something you would do as well?
yeah, we could talk about that because my whole philosophy is I want to help people feel comfortable to use Pinterest because I think it's such a valuable tool for business owners. So if that's something that would help someone get started, I would be glad to do that.
Okay. And
So
Anna, I promise here live on Facebook, I'll visit Pinterest more frequently, at least once or twice a week now.
I sure hope
So
so,
you heard it live here. I've
I
made
sure
the
hope
commitment.
so. Thank you so much, Margaret. And thanks to all of you out there. And I'm sure you found some very helpful hints here today because Margaret had a lot of good things to say. And, why don't you share it on your wall or either share it in one of your groups because that's what it's all about, sharing information to help people to learn more. This is Anna, the Pinterest Pro, and Margaret Martin. We are signing off now from the Pinterest Superhighway.